for doing this for Mental Health Awareness Month for managing stressors and mental health. This is my third year hosting, and I'm just so honored that you have decided to make the choice to be a guest for this year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Keith. I am excited to be here today, and I count it an honor to be able to share with you and the audience in this topic that is very near and dear to my heart. So I am. This is just really great. I'm like a kid in a candy store right now.
Yes, yes, yes. And for those who don't know, I'm a mental health professional. I am state certified. I also have my own practice as well called Transparent Minds LLC. And I work with clients, helping them with their relationships. And my specialties is attachment regulation, anger management, and couples management. So I just want to kind of put it out there so people know that this is something that this is a passion of mine, and I've been in mental health for about 10 years now, and I just love connecting with people who have the same like mindset, like you, Lamont. Not only are you a minister, but you are also a singer, you're an author, a father as well. You're all of those things, and so we're going to get into that before we you know as we go through the live. But I just want to thank you, Lamont, for doing this. On top of that, you're also a mental health advocate as well. I have been following you, and I've been seeing you posting your coping strategies that you want to share with everybody as well. So I just want to thank you so much for that as well, Lamont. So it's it's gonna be good.
It surely is. I was listening to you share, I appreciate the your background, and I think I was looking at one of the like connecting points, and I was like, okay, wait, when and how and where did we connect, and like what was going on? And so I think it was when I saw in your handle on your Instagram with attachment and relationship specialist. That's what really caught my attention,
Hmm.
because I had just finished doing some work in another book, and I'll bring that up just a little bit later on. I was like, "Oh, yeah, follow it immediately! Like, hit that button, let me follow." You are
Yes.
credible, and you are 100% correct. I am a huge advocate for mental health. I am not certified anything yet. I started to advocate for mental health probably about 6 years ago,
Okay.
because I realized and learned that some things that I was experiencing going through in my own personal life, but then also like in other areas such as music and ministry. And I'm like, wait, this topic really needs more awareness, more exposure, more conversation around it. And so I
Yes.
started into that. And so my recent and current endeavor, starting in the winter of 2027, I will be working to obtain my master's degree in mental health counseling. So
Oh,
I'm on my way.
congratulations.
I'm on my way.
I figured that because the topics that you post and the strategies that you've been sharing on your page, I'm like, okay, he is really has a passion for this, and so I just want to thank you and congratulations again on that. We need more mental health professionals that come from a diverse background. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, 100%. That's what my counselor told me.
Yes, and I want to thank Bauer. I see he said hello. That's somebody that came through the live already. So we just hope the live blesses you and educates you as well. This is managing stressors and mental health. This is my third year doing this. And Lamont, one of the reasons what connected me to you was your light. Your light shines bright. All of my guests that I have had on managing stresses and mental health all have that light too. So all of my guests, was something about them in their field, that caused me to be drawn to their light. And the thing with people with lights, we have to be really careful with that because when you shine bright, a lot of people want to be around that light. And then if you don't have the right people around you, they can drain. Negative people, they can cause that light to go out. So that's why it's really important for us to make sure we kind of regulate who we allow to be around us for those, in those close spaces like that. So, yeah.
100%, 100%,
Yes.
because everybody carries a, as you said, an energy, a vibe, personality, an attitude, a character.
Hmm.
And I am very conscientious as to who I go around and who I allow around me for that
Yes.
very reason,
Hmm.
because we already live in such a dark world, and
Yes.
so it's easy for their light to be snuffed out.
Hmm.
So I'm like,
Hmm.
I need my light to stay where it is, and if it can
Yeah.
shine brighter, let it shine brighter. But definitely, I don't want it to go out yet. So
Yes. Yes, amen. Yes, yes, yes. Well, we're going to get right into it, everybody. And as I said, you are a man of many titles. You're a father. You have two baby boys, a minister, a author, a singer. And you also just released your new song entitled Healing for a Nation, which is what the world needs right now. As you said, we live in a dark world, and we just need some light. We need some positivity with everything that's going on. We don't really even have to comment about it. It speaks for itself. And so, that song, which is remarkable, I love it. I've always told you, Lamont, your voice reminds me of you reminds me of Tone. I don't know if I told you that. Your voice reminds me of Tone. I think it was another artist I said reminds me of too. Was it somebody else or was it Tone?
I definitely remember Tone. I get
Yeah,
that quite frequently.
yes, Tone. I love Tone growing up. Yeah, so you have a anointed, phenomenal voice. I know that God's gonna bless you with even more.
Thank you.
So yeah, I just had to mention that as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so Lamont, I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to be a minister and a singer, a
That's
gospel singer?
I chuckle at that question because I'm like, you know what? I don't know, but no, I really do know. It's in my DNA. So
Okay.
I did a two-part answer. So in short, my family, but in long form, my mom and dad are both singers. And so on the singing side, so I kind of slightly compartmentalize singing and ministry, just slightly, not much, because they really are to a certain extent one and the same. But on the singing side, that's the part for me that came first.
Yeah.
My mother and father are both singers, and everybody in my family, everybody can sing or either play some type of instrument. So,
Wow.
I was going to do something musically, either sing or play, and of course, I do both. So,
Yes.
with my dad also being a musician, he pointed me in that direction, and so I started singing when I was 3,
Okay.
and
Wow.
I love it. I love everything about music, just its ability to be a universal language and reach so many
Yes.
people, that's kind of also tied to that song that you were just talking about, Healing for the Nation.
Mhm.
I believe it goes around the world, no matter what the language is. Music has the ability to reach the heart when it comes from the heart. And so
Mhm. Mm.
I would see the way that my mom and dad, like when they would sing and move people with just their voice, and I was just like, I'm always in awe of them, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to be able to do that too. So
Uh-huh.
I started at 3. My father's my first vocal coach or music teacher,
Wow.
if you will. It started at 3, and he taught me and my cousins and my aunts and uncles, had all of us up in the church singing. So, and he was a
Yes.
little bit of a hard taskmaster, just
Okay.
a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's what really got me going. So like my dad would play like the Hawkins singers growing up. So we would clean the
Wow.
house, and in cleaning the house, my dad would be playing the Hawkins singers on his record player. My mom would be playing James Moore, and she would be playing artists like the Clark sisters. And so I
Mhm.
got introduced to like gospel music at an early age.
Okay.
And so on the ministry side, just making this answer really, really brief and short.
Yeah.
I grew up in church, so born and raised in church. My mother and father took me when I was born with them to every singing engagement that they had. And my dad's father, my grandfather, was the pastor of our church. And so I know church inside and out.
Yes.
And it was in my teenage years, between like 16 and 17 years of age. I know I don't look that right now, but between 16 and 17 years of age, I was developing my own personal relationship with God,
Yeah.
and I was availing myself to Him and just saying, hey, if you can use me, or if you want to use me in any shape, form, or fashion, then please, by all means, here I am, like Isaiah
Hmm.
used me. And so I believe that I heard the call to, if you will, ministry or gospel ministry, preaching or things of that nature, being a minister, that
Yeah.
would have occurred in 1999. And so I'll make this
Wow.
part of this story very, very brief. But I think it's very significant to answering that question about being inspired to be a minister, because honestly, I didn't want anything to do with that, Keith, because my grandfather was the pastor. And so I saw how, he had to do ministry, and I saw some of the impacts of doing ministry and trying to balance family and things of that nature. And I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm good with singing. Just let me stick to singing. I'm good on that. But I made that prayer and I was like, okay, if you can use me, so you got to be careful of what you say.
Yes.
But it was in 1999. I went to a gospel concert, and the presence of God was very, or the glory of God, as some people would say, was very prevalent in that service. And so, on one
Hmm.
side of the room, I heard somebody start to speak in tongue, is what we find out in the New Testament. And then on the other side of the room, someone else interpreted the message. And
Okay.
the message was, I know who you are. I'm calling you by name for my glory. And you're going to preach the gospel, sending you out. And so I want to use you. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really great, because I never had an experience like that. And I was like, oh, that's
Hmm.
wonderful. The Lord going to use somebody. And so about 2 weeks later, I was at another gospel concert, and
Hmm.
this time it was a similar situation, but this time it's like 2 rows in front of me, literally two
Hmm.
rows in front of me. And so there were two ladies. One lady was laying hands, and another lady was just receiving the impartation. So the lady that was receiving the impartation started to speak in tongues. And then the lady that was laying hands began to interpret the message. And the lady that was laying hands, her eyes were closed, but she said, I know who you are, and I'm calling you by name for my purpose, for my glory. I'm going to send you out. You're going to preach my gospel. And now this time I'm thinking this is freaky, because, like,
Yeah.
I'm used to just, regular church. Okay, we're going to sing, we're going to hear a message, give some offering, and go home. But this is something that was very unfamiliar to me. And
Yeah.
so when that happened that second time, that got my attention. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that's all about, but like, just shake it off, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off, and keep it moving. And so I went to college at Columbia, Missouri, at the University of Missouri, and I became a part of the gospel choir, and we went to
Oh,
the
wow.
National Baptist Student Union retreat in Atlanta, Georgia. And that first night they had an opening service, and there was an evangelist there from Virginia, and she was preaching and sharing her testimony just about some things she had been through, and like how God can use anybody that he wants to use. And so she
Hmm.
had an altar call, and I went down along with probably about 400 other students. And
Hmm.
so I was watching her, and she wasn't like ministering to everybody individually, because one, that's a lot of people that would be overwhelming. But
Yeah.
I was one of the persons that she came to and she ministered to. And she came to me, and guess what she said? She said, don't you know that God is calling you by name, calling you for it was
Confirmation.
like the exact same message three
Yeah.
times. And it was
Wow.
that night in Atlanta, Georgia in 1999 that I was like, okay, yes, Lord. So I threw my
Mm-hmm.
hands up.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my family back at home, and then I started down the process of becoming a licensed and ordained minister. So that's kind of how that story went.
Wow. And that was, you definitely had the confirmation. And they said when God speaks, he speaks loud and clear.
Very loud and very clear. It was like in my face.
Uh-huh. Oh my goodness. That is a phenomenal story and testimony. Oh my goodness. So how long have you, I know you said you started singing when you were 3. How long have you been an ordained minister?
So I received my ministry license,
Hmm.
and that was in 2005. And then a year later, I was ordained as an elder in 2006.
Wow, wow, that is awesome. Congratulations to that as well. You just never know who people are, because when I started following you on Instagram, I had no idea you was a minister. I just knew that. I think one of the things was that you post a lot of positive things on your page and you sung, and I liked a lot of the videos that you did with your singing. But I had no idea that you was a minister. But I was like, oh, okay, that's even better. Like so yeah, that's cool. Like you cannot judge a book by its cover. Not saying that was the case with you, but I'm just saying in general, you just never know, who people are. So that is awesome.
We come,
Yes.
Keith, I believe that we come with certain gifts and callings, and I think it's as people walk their path that
Hmm.
they are developed into using what is inside of them to use what, like you said, what they're passionate about. Really,
Yeah.
to be very transparent and very, yeah, very transparent. I don't personally, I have such stage fright, and I'm no longer what is classified as an introvert. I'm classified as an ambivert. So it's a mix of introvert and ambivert.
Ambivert. I'm
So
ambivert. Yeah.
I really don't like being on stage in front of people and talking.
Okay.
And so
Hmm.
it's just like,
Yeah.
so to actually have to speak, that was not anything that I ran after or pursued, but
Yeah.
it's a part of the path and the journey that I believe that God has set forth for my life. And so
Hmm.
once I surrendered and started getting into it, is when I
Yeah.
started to develop, I think, the confidence for it. And so, because sometimes still getting up and speaking in front of people, I'm like, even now on this life, I'm like, I hope I don't sound dumb when I talk. Like, don't let me look ignorant or foolish because I get nervous and like I'm sweating. My back is like the Niagara Falls right now because I'm like,
Wow. You would never
just
thought.
nervous, but I want to make sure that I share something at any point that's going to help somebody. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of like how my journey developed. It was in college, and then later on, in serving in ministry, I served as an assistant pastor, and then I became consecrated as a bishop in May of 2019, and then I was elevated or affirmed as an apostle in April of 2021. So like that's
Okay.
just kind of like how my progression went.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. I'm very familiar, with church and with ministry, and I love people. So, and I think that's really one of the reasons why, too. Even sometimes some of the difficult people, I still love people and try to do my best to help meet needs where they need to be met.
Yeah, yeah. That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Lamont. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the next one
All
here.
right.
That was phenomenal, and I hope everybody was able to receive that word and message that Lamont just shared about how he got into ministry. God is just amazing. He is, everything. And I know he looks different for everybody. Um, uh, okay, so Lamont, so while I've been a minister, a singer, been a father with two beautiful baby boys, what has been one of the worst moments or situations you have ever experienced in your life?
So as I was preparing for that, one of the worst, and for me, this is the worst experiences and moments in my life as a person, as a minister, was going through separation that led to divorce. That was an incredibly difficult time for me,
Mhm.
because when people are getting married or they're preparing for marriage or nuptials or things of that nature, most oftentimes nobody prepares you for a divorce because you never hope that that's an option, or never look in
No.
that direction because you're looking for happily
Mhm.
ever after. That's what the
Yeah.
expectation is. And so for me, when the reality of the relationship not moving or progressing any further, and it was becoming more and more toxic and dysfunctional, became a
Mhm.
reality for me, and realized that this thing it's not going any further, it's done. That was very, very difficult for me, Keith, because I had never been at that place before. I've heard about people, who experience divorce and
Mhm.
separation. Sometimes their separation doesn't always lead to divorce, but I've heard about those folks. But then when I had to walk that part of my journey, it was
Yeah.
really, really tough. It was very difficult, mentally, in every way, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, socially. It was incredibly hard, because I experienced it in a place where I was away from all of my family members and friends. So
Wow.
I went through that,
Wow.
to a certain extent, by myself. And the only people who were present were my children, my boys. I have two boys, Kingdom and Sovereign. They're 5 and 2. So they're itty bitty. They can't even be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Dad, it's gonna be all right."
Uh-huh.
Keep it moving. So I had to endure a lot of that for the most part on my own, though I was not. by myself in my social connections because I still was connected to friends and family, of course,
Mhm.
other places, but geographically, physically, I
Yeah.
had to walk through it, by myself. And so it was really, really hard. A lot of dark days, a lot of dark,
Mm.
depressing times,
Mhm.
a lot of mentally and emotionally challenging times. And some days I
Yeah.
didn't know if I was going to make it. If I were being very
Yeah.
transparent, I didn't know if I was
Mhm.
going to make it or live from one day to the next because I didn't know what I was going to experience.
Yeah.
Because it was very devastating and heart wrenching, and
Yeah.
part of it is because I think the brain captures those memories and those moments. But then
Mhm.
also some of the dynamics in my marriage that I had experienced, it caused me to question the reality of or the realness or authenticity of my marriage because
Mhm.
I didn't know what was real as opposed to what wasn't real. And
Yeah.
that goes back to the mind. So I think that's probably what really was the biggest struggle going through that,
Mhm.
because as we live our life, as we experience life, we understand that we are experiencing it in real time, so we believe that things
It's
to be
real
real, such
time.
as like this broadcast. This
Mhm.
is a real broadcast, it's a live broadcast. It's
Yes.
not contrived or made up, so everything right here is live and raw and it's real.
You
But
remember
then
from Waiting to Exhale when I'm sorry, when Angela Bassett had that moment and they said, "This is a test of the emergency broadcast system." Okay.
exactly.
Woo!
It's like, what? Okay. Because you are in that. I mean, there's so much that you have to process, in the moment and every day
Mhm.
subsequent to that. And
Mhm.
so that for me, that was the hardest and the worst moment of my life, because I also was faced with shame. I was faced with
Yes.
guilt, with embarrassment. As a minister, again, and this is something too, it's a stigma that is associated with marriages, the divorce rate, and then also things with church. And people was like, well, if they're not able to make it and have successful marriages in church, then what's the hope for me, and things of that nature. So like all of that bombarded my mind,
Yeah.
and the way that I pressed through it is I processed through it, every single thing for me. And so I started with this question, Keith, of how did we get here? That was where
Maybe.
I started. How did we get here to this
Mhm.
place? And so I started there, and then I worked backwards, if you will. Like that's part of
Mhm.
my process. So I
Yeah.
worked backwards to determine, okay, I tried to find every area, every angle to look at to determine, number one, also what was my contribution to this situation and what wasn't my contribution, to
Mhm.
this current experience.
Mhm.
And that was really difficult, but then that also gave me more confidence and reassurance, to know that I did what I knew to do and I did the best that I could do. But
Yeah.
then also realizing that I have to live my life for me, and then I have two children that are dependent upon me. And so they were my greatest motivation going through that period of that separation and even the divorce,
Yeah.
because I was like, I have to be able to give something to them that they can live on and sustain through and become hopefully positive contributing citizens to society.
Yes.
And to know
Yes.
that, and this is something that I would say to the entire audience, and I pray that nobody ever has to experience it, but if it does become a reality, this is the greatest message that I can share, is that there is still life on the other side
Yeah.
of divorce. There's still
Mhm.
great life to live on the other side of it.
Oh my God, that's such an awesome message and it's an awesome word to share, Lamont. Oh my goodness. I wanted to ask you, if it's okay, and if you don't have to, if you don't want to, share. Would you say there was any red flags in the beginning or yellow flags that caused you? They say when we're in love, we kind of overlook a lot of we overlook some things. Do you think that you had any of those, or it just hit you by surprise?
No, absolutely. So, yes and no.
Okay.
So, the yes part is I saw a lot of things in the very beginning, but
Yeah.
I didn't know how to identify them.
Okay.
So that's the yes part. The no part was when I started to look at my contribution. And that's
Mhm.
why I said there were things about me that I did not know, and that's when I started to do work in this book called How We Love, and that book
Woo.
talked about attachment styles, which is again another reason why I identified and connected with you, because I
Yes.
didn't know what mine was, and
Woo.
I was like, oh my god. So it's like,
Mhm.
oh, so it's not, and I've never been this person to say, well,
Yeah.
it's all the other person's fault or
Right.
responsibility. What I teach is that it takes two to make it work, and it
It
takes two to
takes
make
two.
it end.
Mhm.
Period, point blank. And so, but I
Yeah.
had to own my contribution to that. So there was a part of,
Yes.
I guess, not knowing,
Yes.
and for myself, which
Yeah.
was also contributing to the dysfunction, so
Mhm.
that I could be able to get information to, to my ex-wife at the time. But then also these red flags that were there, I thought that they were things that would get better, if you will, with time. It's like,
Uh-huh.
okay, well, I think this is just a person, and it's going to change, or that's going to get better. Um,
Yeah.
and then there were some things, because I was not familiar with this term called projection. So there was some things that were projected onto me, and again, that caused my mind to question, like, okay, well, is this me, or is this, like, okay, well, maybe it is me.
It's
So maybe
uh-huh.
I'm the problem. So let me try to fix myself, and I didn't
Mhm.
realize that that was a projection. And so,
Mhm.
those are,
That's
so yeah. Go ahead.
That's a powerful word, Lamont, projection, which a lot of people often do in life, whether it's with, just people, sometimes feel like they have the recipe for our life, or they're projecting their world experiences or their life experiences on us, and as you said, most times it is projection. So yeah, that's powerful.
And I found out that it's easy to do. And even I pay attention to myself now to make sure that I don't project my experience on someone
Yes.
else when I'm
Yes.
engaging with them, because it's easy to do as a human. And again, when you walk, like say, you walk through your real life experience, you take
Hmm.
that as absolute. And then
Yes.
when you come into contact with someone else who has a different experience or perspective,
Hmm.
and theirs is absolute too, when you get into like that committed relationship, romantic relationship, it's
Yeah.
very challenging trying to merge, if you will, the two perspectives together in a healthy way. Because
Yeah.
again, you feel like, well, this is this, I'm right, you're wrong. It's, I think, a part of the perspective test, where you have two people, one on one side, one on the other side, and they're both looking at a number. One person says, I see it a six, and the other person says, I see a nine. And instead of agreeing that we
True.
both see a number, can we
Hmm.
agree that we both see a number? It's like, well, no, it's a six. Nope, it's a nine. So people most times
Hmm.
stay on that latter part, and they never come to the agreeing part that, hey,
Yeah.
we both, at least we both see a number. So let's
Yes.
start there, and progress further. But
Yes.
that was just like one of the dynamics that I
Yeah.
experienced. And so uh, I had to do a lot of work, a lot of processing again, so that I could distinguish between what was mine that I needed to own, and what
Hmm.
wasn't mine that I did not want
Yes.
to own. So
Okay. Yes. Yes. What I know you kind of share some things that kind of helped you through it, like far as you had to pre-process and everything to get through it. What were some practical coping skills or strategies that you would like to share that you felt that helped you through it, if you use any?
yeah, oh yes, I used a lot, because there was no way for me. There was no way of being able to endure that and navigate
Yeah.
that without coping skills. And so there are several things that help me. So I'm going to kind of run down a little list here, and then the last one is where I really dig in, because this is one thing that I push, that I also associated with my latest song that I released. But
Okay.
one of the things that helped me was prayer. So I rely heavily on just prayer,
Amen.
communication with God. And like I said, my babies were definitely a motivation for me.
Yes.
Counseling helped me a
Mm.
great deal. I have a
Mhm.
counselor, and I still
Okay.
see my counselor, and I've been seeing this counselor for a long time.
Okay.
But to
Yes.
speak specifically to a couple of strategies, one was grounding. I didn't know that's what it was called. I just felt
Hmm.
led to do that. And so I
Yeah.
think it was like what was natural for me. And
Yeah.
so, which I found out a little bit later, that was a twisted narrative, but it was assumed, or or imagined that I was out cheating when I was actually at the park around the corner from our house, sitting in the grass, processing the experience. And so, but that for me helped me because to get into a space where there was mental clarity, emotional clarity, spiritual
Mm.
clarity, so that I could do this next strategy, which was journaling. So
Yes.
for me, one of my processes was every 30 days, I would do if you will, a self assessment, what I call a check in. And so I would
Yes.
check in mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, socially, economically every 30 days because I
Okay.
figured that that was the only way that I would be able to track my progress or lack
Yeah.
thereof.
Mhm.
And so, and I didn't realize, Keith, how much discipline that required. I didn't
Yeah,
realize how
it
much discipline that
does.
required to do that because I don't want to gloss over that either. You know, people say, well, just journal. It's not necessarily easy to do that because number one, you got to be honest with yourself and say, this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. This is where I am. Like there were some days that I did not have mental clarity. It was
Mhm.
very difficult to have a clear thought and a clear mind. And I did my level best to get through that. And I just, again, my babies were a great push to say, okay, I don't understand everything right now, but just keep living. Just keep living.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I checked in all of those areas and I journaled in all of those areas with honesty. And I
Yes,
was able
honesty.
to pinpoint what I needed to focus on. And so,
Mhm.
I didn't try to focus on every area at the same time because that was going to be too overwhelming. So I
Yeah.
looked at, okay, wait, where am I struggling? And, which part is struggling the most right now? Is it the money? Is it the emotions? Is it physically? Because I had physical health challenges as a result of that situation.
Wow.
I had ended up with I had some legions on my endocrine. I had to go see an endocrinologist because I had a lesion
Wow.
there that developed, and they're still monitoring that right now. They said it wasn't producing anything. There
Okay.
was a prostate cancer scare because I was having
Wow.
some issues there, so they did the X-ray, they did the MRI. MRI came back clinically significant for cancer in the prostate. So then I had to do a biopsy, and in between that time, I'm just praying, and I asked a few people to pray for me. So the results of the biopsy came back benign inflammation. So we thank God for
Mhm.
that. So, there's no cancer in my body, but physically, I was going through a lot of things as well. So
Yeah.
it wasn't just, oh, we separating and divorcing, but it was a lot that was happening, and I
Impact,
didn't want
yeah.
to miss any area. So that's why I
Mhm.
chose to journal because that worked for me.
Ah, oh my gosh. Well, thank you for sharing that amazing coping strategy. I always stress journaling as well with my clients and with the students because I also work as a mental health professional at elementary school, which is my primary job that I do. And I always just stress we keep journals in the counseling office for them to, write. And surprisingly, a lot of the kids like to journal. So they're either write their emotions out. A lot of the younger kids, especially between grades K through third grade, they like to draw and color in the book, and they'll they'll color and draw their emotions in the book. And so that's how they express themselves, which is amazing because they're letting it out versus keeping it in. And that's how we end up getting these illnesses because we hold on to this and we don't know how to process it, and then it impacts our bodies physically, And so that's thank you for sharing how powerful journaling is. One of the things that I also love, Lamont, that I saw that you've been sharing on your Instagram page, for coping strategies is creating an emergency playlist. Music will save your life. And it is so amazing when you can find a song that speaks directly to what you're going through. It's like that song was made personally for you.
Yeah. 100%. And so I one of my playlists that I have a lot of playlists, but
Yeah.
one of the playlists that I would play during that time, I labeled it as my journaling playlist. And so it's a
Okay.
variety of different artists. There is some Amber Navran from Moonchild. One of my little brothers, his name is Brian Kennedy. That's his artist name, Brian Kennedy. He's an awesome pianist. And
Okay.
I would play a lot of his music. He has a song called Score of Life. And it's just, there's this instrumentation of violin and piano, and the combination and just the way that it moves helps my
Yeah.
mind to stay in a calm, clear place to be
Wow.
able to do that. So you're 100% correct. Music is incredibly powerful.
Mhm.
Um, I, what I employ now, I guess if you will, I think I just put this up either this week or last week, but take a bubble bath.
Ba I saw that. I saw a bubble bath, and look, I haven't had one of those in a long time, so it might be time for me to take a bubble bath.
Oh man.
Bubble baths, they sound nostalgic and old school, but I mean, they still do what they're supposed to do.
It works. I'm telling you, it works tremendously. When I was looking for a new home to move into,
Hmm.
I said that home has to have a bathtub because I want to
Yes.
take a bubble bath. And so I got a split, got what I wanted, and I
Uh-huh.
make use of that bathtub. And like you said, it does kind of sound or feel nostalgic, but it is one
Yes.
again, it's one of the most, I think, underlooked coping mechanisms or skills, just
Yeah.
a way of self-care that's underlaid. And it's
Yes.
easy if you
It's
have a,
easy.
if you have a bathtub, easy access. And what I
Uh-huh.
do, Keith, and I'm giving y'all, since I'm being transparent, giving you, I might as well give you all my little secrets. But um I create a bubble bath, I turn
Hmm.
on some smooth jazz, I light
Yes.
candles, and I put
Hmm.
my own rose petals in the water, and I have my own little
Okay.
aromatherapy going on, and because one this is one of the things that I learned, Keith, is that
Yeah.
a lot of times, and I think this comes from our community and Black culture,
Hmm.
that we are so taught and geared to give to others and to do for other people
Hmm.
that we
Hmm.
oftentimes abandon ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, wait a minute, hold on, why am I not giving that to myself as
Right.
well as other
Hmm.
people? So it's like, that
Exactly.
self-care, I kind of had to switch my mindset as well to say, hey,
Yeah.
let's do some of this for you, do some good things for you, take care of you. And then, you
Yes.
can go and take care of other people. But I love bubble baths. I love it.
Yes. And I liked also that you mentioned serotonin and cortisol levels as well, because that is very important. A bubble bath helps build those serotonin levels, and those cortisol levels, where it helps keeps us balanced. So yes, yes, yes.
All about
Yeah.
feeling good. I mean, we love to feel good and we should feel good. I think that we are
Hmm.
supposed to feel good.
Yes.
But like, we were sharing, unfortunately, there are some times where we do experience challenge, some darkness and some
Hmm.
difficult things, and that, decreases that happiness and that peace and all of that. So we have to work to restore all of that. And I just been,
Yes.
learning some of the benefits of some of these things and just being able to, I think I shared
Hmm.
this week, just connecting with an old
Yeah.
friend or reaching out to a friend and just engage with them. Like that makes you
Yeah.
feel good and it builds those levels back up, releases those hormones again because you're connecting with somebody that, you love, you're on the same page with it. It's just always good times. And what you were
Yes.
saying, being around those people. So I try to surround myself with those people who
Hmm.
bring that
Who
goodness,
br Yes,
because
yes.
everybody
Ev
don't. So that's
yeah,
important.
everybody do not. Yes, they do not. Yes, awesome. I'm loving it, Lamont. Yes. Okay, so, Imma ask you 3 of your top favorites now,
Okay.
like, to make it a little fun. Okay, so what would you say is your favorite singer, not gospel singer, but just favorite singer? If you have more than one, your top 3, or if you just have one you wanted to share, who does it for you?
I got a lot. That was hard. That was
Yes,
hard. So
top 3.
okay, I'll give you my top three. My top three singers are as hard as this is, because I'm like, there's
Okay,
like two more I want to wing in there. But anyway, so my top three would be B Slade, Karen Clark Sheard, and Kim Burrell.
okay. B Slade, formerly known as Tone.
Yeah.
Okay, Kim Burrell and Karen Clark Sheard.
Yes.
Oh my God, B Slay, you know I'm a Tone fan. I grew up on Tone, so I've awesome, awesome, phenomenal, anointed, all of that. Current clock shear, OMG. Me and Lawrence, we went to go see Kurt Franklin and all of them. You know the family tour, the reunion tour
Hmm.
2 years ago,
Yep.
and all the sisters were there. OMG, like they are phenomenal, fashionable, everything. They are. Everybody was phenomenal. Kiara Shear, um, everybody. Yolanda Adams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fred
So,
Hammond and Marvin
uh,
Sapp.
yeah, Fred Hammond, Marvin Sapp were there. Who else? Who else? I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but Kurt Franklin, of course.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. I like that list. I like the list. Okay.
I listened to all of them like when I was coming into being, if you will, a singer, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
I was been singing since 3, but it was like a lot of some choir stuff, but then like trying to develop my own sound.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it was hard because I'm like, well, I feel like I'm a mix of some of those 3, but then also like Daryl Coley, Wanye Morris from Boys to Men, and Deidre
Yeah.
Haddon and
Okay.
Smokey
I can see.
Norfolk. So
I can
like,
see Dietrich. Yeah, I can see Dietrich. I can see Smokey as well. Yeah, I can see. That was the other person I was thinking of, Dietrich Haddon as well. He's always been one of my favorite. I grew up listening to Dietrich Haddon too, so he's
yeah.
awesome. I haven't seen him in concert yet, but if he came here in Virginia, to this area, I would definitely go and see him. Always been a top favorite, Dietrich. Um, okay, awesome, man. I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. So, out of all the places you've been, Lamont, that you visited, what would you say is your favorite?
My favorite all-time place that I would go back to again and again is Puerto Rico.
We, you know what? We went to our honeymoon to Puerto Rico.
Really?
We
Oh,
went,
that's what's
yeah.
up. Okay.
Our honeymoon was in Puerto. We stayed. Our resort was in Humaco, but we fell in love with San Juan and Old San Juan too. What was your favorite area in Puerto Rico?
That's
What
the
part
one.
were you in?
It's old San Juan. So when I
Woo!
went, we stayed in Santurce, which is actually Catalina, which is kind of like
Okay,
it's kind of like more of the suburban area, and
yeah,
then we stayed the latter part in Santurce, which was very close to Old San Juan. Like we just Ubered into Old San Juan and
yeah,
spent my time there. But I love Old San Juan.
yeah. Old San
Love
Juan is
it.
where it is. Old San Juan. Did you go by the factory, the factory the fragrance factory, make your own cologne?
No, I did. I saw that you guys did, and congratulations. Let me come back and back that up.
Thank you.
Congratulations. By
Thank
the
you.
way, I am super excited for that. But no, I did
Oh,
not.
thank you.
I didn't go there, but I did a couple of things that's well, it's a lot of stuff that stood out, but two things that stood out was one, the chocolate, it was a chocolate restaurant. So I went there.
Oh,
Everything is made with chocolate, and it was incredible. Amazing.
what?
Everything is made with chocolate there. And a food tour so that I could sample the mufongo, since that's one of their staple dishes. So,
Oh, I had no idea.
oh, yeah. So when you go again, so now you know, got plenty of trips to go back.
Mhm.
You have to
Right.
try their mofongo. So that's a staple dish to the island, and everybody doesn't
Okay.
make it the same, and that's because everyone's influence, comes from different parts of the world. So you kind of
Yeah.
get to taste how different cultures or different backgrounds make the mofongo, and it
What
kept
is
getting
that
better and
exactly?
better. So it's a mix of rice and meat, and then it depends upon where you try it, they'll put something different
Oh,
in it. My favorite was where I had it with sweet plantain, and so they did it with
oh,
rice, they did it with sausage and sweet plantain, and it was so good. It was so good.
okay. Oh my God. Yeah. I think the most authentic dish we had when we were there were, I think, were called tostados. It was made with potatoes and plantains, and it's fried. That was
Ooh,
our favorite.
That sounds good
and
too. I'm
we
getting
tried
hungry now.
it. Yeah, that was, and I heard that they make them local. Like I was told that I can go to like a Spanish restaurant and order them. I didn't know that, but now I'm gonna start ordering those now, and I know they exist now.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
should. But that was
yeah.
my that's my so I guess that links us and connects us even more. I didn't know that you guys
That's
went
a
there.
connect. Who would ever thought Puerto Rico? 'Cause we were just saying, I was just telling Lawrence that we fell in love with San Juan. We went to, we went by T-Mobile as well too, like this Distrito. I can't remember how you say it, but we went by there. But definitely, you definitely have to go back twice or even more than that. So we definitely would love to go again. So that's awesome, man. Okay, Puerto Rico. Okay.
Yeah.
All
The
right.
I did a tour in the rainforest. I did a tour in El Yunque rainforest,
Yeah.
and that was a lot of fun. But this is the part that I want to highlight about that because I know you're getting ready to move on. Once we ended the tour, our tour guide gave us fresh pineapple. And I have
Really?
never ever in my life, and it was very organic, very natural. He had this blade, like this machete, and he put this machete in the water, and I'm like, "Is that water fresh? Can like you do that?" So
Yeah.
he put it in the water, rinsed it off, had this pineapple, and he hacked it and cut it, and then served it to us on a leaf from the tree in the rainforest.
Oh,
And that pineapple was so sweet. I've never in my
wow.
entire life had sweet, fresh pineapple like that. So I'm like, oh,
Wow.
I would go back again for the fresh fruit. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry, but I loved it. It was so much fun. It was a lot of fun. You just
Yeah,
gotta
I heard about
figure
that
it out.
rain. Oh my God. I heard about the rainforest, but we were trying to do something. We wanted to be more relaxing. So we definitely probably have to check out the rainforest now when we go back.
You should.
Okay, okay, all right. Okay. This is the last question of the top faves.
Okay.
What is one item that you cannot live without?
My cell phone charger.
Okay, good one. Yes, yes. Especially if you have an iPhone.
And I do.
Okay, you have an iPhone. Okay, yes, yes. That's a item that you definitely cannot live without is a cell phone charger. Yes, 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 and yes. OMG, yes. Yes.
Life will
Okay,
not
that's a good
make it
one.
without that cell phone charger. If that cell phone die, we are in trouble.
We are in trouble. Yes, yes. Okay, so we're at the last question. Okay, so this is the last question. This is the would you rather question.
Okay.
Would you rather, Lamont, would you rather be known for your kindness or for your intelligence?
Oh, I would rather me because I'm such a the touchy feely person. I would rather be known for my kindness,
Yeah.
um, because kindness has a way of making people feel, and that's what I always
Yes.
want from
Uh-huh.
me. Whenever people come into contact with me, I want them to be able to feel me. So I would say I would
Yes.
want to be known for my kindness.
For your kindness, I agree. There was a quote, it's a famous quote. It says, people will forget what you um, said, but they will not forget how you treated them.
Correct.
And so that is a very good one, very powerful. I think people underestimate the power of kindness. I think kindness is really powerful. I think some people consider kindness to be weak, but actually, I always tell people kind people are the strongest people in the world because they know how to handle situations and they don't break under pressure. They are able to extend grace to people who may not deserve it, but God give us grace, so we have to remember that, okay, that's why they deserve it. But some people are not able to do that. So I always tell people, kind people are the strongest people in the world because it takes a lot to deal with a lot from a lot of people, and to be able to do it with grace and dignity and class and still keep yourself composed and together. So yes, I wish you all the way.
And it doesn't
Yes.
cost a lot. It doesn't cost anything to be kind other than just again that
Mm,
mindset. So I that's again
Hmm.
one of the reasons why I'm such a huge advocate for just mental health. The healthier the mind is,
Yes.
the more aware you
Yes.
are of how you are engaging with people, how you treat people, how you speak to
Hmm.
people, what you say to people. And so, it doesn't cost anything to be kind. And my son actually
It does not.
he got me this morning. We were dropping off my baby at school and we were leaving out, and he was holding the door open, and I thought that he was holding the door open for me. I was like, okay, thank you. And I'm like, okay, come on. And so when I turned around, there was another lady who was actually going inside the door. And I was like, oh, he's holding the door open for this lady. Okay, that was so kind. And I told him, I
Wow.
said, way to go, buddy. Thank you for being kind. And it goes like
Yes.
little things like that go a long way. And it just doesn't cost a
Go
lot to be kind.
go
So that's just where I rest.
It's right. It doesn't cost a thing to be kind. OMG. Yes, it does not cost a thing. It's free. As you said, Lamar, it is free. And I wish a lot of people, and I know some people, it's hard for them to be kind because of their, past experiences with their ACEs, their adverse childhood experiences. And so I understand that. But, you don't want to stay in that though. You don't want to stay in that cycle, you know. And that's one of the things that I like to work with people on, like to break those cycles that we go through that is within us, that stems from our attachment as children, that we have not addressed, and then we don't understand why we respond this way, or why. I remember, like, over the years I've met people who say they always had attitude. I'm like, why is this person always mad? Like, what? Like,
Hmm.
why are you so mad? And then not realizing, as I went through life and I, got into into mental health, I always had a passion to help people. And so that's what made me get into it. And I'm just like, you know, with me knowing everything I know now, how, the trauma that people go through and how it impacts our brain and how it changes our brain chemistry, I realized that, you know what, it's not, it's they are choosing to respond that way, but also a lot of times they don't know why they're acting this way. Because I know, like, a lot of things I get from my clients, that's going through attachment regulation, is they don't understand why they respond that way, or they're trying to understand why they think that way. They're trying to understand, like, their internal thoughts, what's going on. And so, yeah, a lot of people just don't know what's going on with them. And so, yeah, that's awesome. Yes, kindness go a long way. And if anybody to be unkind, like that. And so if you're looking forward to, understand yourself more, please feel free to check out my services at transparentminds.com. And you can sign up for a consultation. Consultations are free. And then, if you like the consultation, how everything went with the consultation, we can go ahead and start with your sessions. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And so, Demont, how would people keep in touch with you, or how can they follow you? What you want to share as far as, like, contact information?
So one way to do that is on Instagram. I have an Instagram page, and I also have YouTube. I'm also on Facebook. So trying to balance those three social media platforms is always it's always a chore. But on Instagram, it is my Jazzy Riffs. But then I also have my ministry page, Lamont Walker Ministries, and then I also have my little
Okay.
jewelry making page called Terry Lynn's Collections,
Oh,
and that is on
really?
Instagram. And then on Facebook, I believe it's Lamont Walker Ministries. And then on YouTube, it is My Jazzy Riff. So that's how you all can keep up with me and stay in contact with me and see the latest and greatest on what I'm doing.
Oh my God. Yes, 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 yes. Who ever thought that you make jewelry? Is like, you're a man of many hats, man.
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's awesome. My sister, she also has her own bead thing too. And she has a partnership with Macy's that she's been doing. And yeah, so that's awesome. I love it. I love the pieces that she makes, and I'm gonna definitely have to check out some of yours. I'm gonna have to go to your website, and check some of your stuff out too. I would have never known that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes, and and the part of what I do for Mental Health Awareness Month also, I like to offer a free session to the people that come on, during the lives. Now, you don't have to use it for yourself because you already have a therapist. But if you know someone that you think will benefit from an attachment session, I can, they can use the code for themselves and they can see how it go. So I'll send that to you as well. I'll send to you on your Instagram account, and that way, if you know somebody who you think will benefit from, understanding or trying to find out about their attachment, why they respond the way they do in their relationships, personal or family relationships, then they can use it for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. That is
Yeah.
incredible. Now you caught me by surprise with that. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's my gift for Mental Health Awareness Month. It's the least I can do. Because I'm in the helping people business, and so yeah.
I think that's beautiful. That is this is one of the reasons why I love you and love following you. So just your heart, your kindness, and again, your kindness and your giving and your expertise in what you do and what you share. It's
Thank you
needed.
so
And
much.
I'm gonna just say this from a community's perspective. We need you and thank you for
Oh,
being who you are and sharing and giving and doing even this platform, making it available to people because it is so important, it's so vital, and we need it to live. So I want to say thank you for
oh,
all that you do
oh,
to assist us to live
amen.
better and healthier lives. So thank you.
Oh, oh well, Lamont, thank you so much for that. I really received that. I appreciate that. And I know I should probably do a little bit more posting with I'm gonna post more throughout the month for mental health. I definitely gotta post more for this month. For Mental Health Awareness Month. So thank you. So that was really, kind of you, and I received it. Thank you so much. I'm honored. Yes. My sister just joined, Kia. She said, yes, very important. I know we only got one person here live, which is that's my sister. But I think
Hey,
people, they have been
sister.
dropping in and out. Uh, I think people have been dropping in and out. I was going to see if we had anybody had any questions, but we don't have anybody currently in here. But I know I've seen the numbers go up and down since we've been on. But the live, I think it instantly uploads once we get off. Um, and so people will have it on YouTube to go back and watch it, and then I'm going to um, download it and I'm gonna share it on Instagram too, and I'm gonna tag you also, Lamont, when I'm able to do it. Now. Hopefully, I can. It don't take me long to do it, but I'm gonna get it done.
You got it. You got it. You got this.
All right. Yes. Well, Lamont. Oh my God. I feel like you've been a friend for a while now. It's like we
Same.
have always been friends. Thank you so much for doing this. This was a blast. For doing, managing stresses and mental health awareness. Being my first guest. My sister is actually my next guest. She'll be the next guest for this month. And she'll be talking about what she has going with her B, that with her B, the business that she has, and also with one of her foundations that she have as well. So I'm excited to talk with her. She's done this before. She done this the first year that I did it. And she didn't do last year, but she'll be back this year. So it's always fun talking with her. And it's been so fun talking with you too, Lamont. And thank you for sharing your heart
You
also.
too. You too. Thank you.
We can do this again at some point.
I'm willing. If you willing to have me, I'm willing to come back again anytime.
Yes, thank you so much. Oh my God. Okay, and I'm gonna send over that code to you today for the free consultation for somebody that might benefit from it. Okay.
Indeed. Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome, Lamont, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope you have an amazing, phenomenal, blessed weekend.
Thank you, Keith. I just want to say one more time, thank you so very much for having me and allowing me to share on your platform. This means more than the world to me. and to be able to connect and then hear from you and learn from you and just be able to be a guest of
Oh,
yours and sharing that session, that means a great deal to me, more than what you know. So thank you for having me, and I
oh,
just hope that everybody has received something that was helpful for them. So thank you again.
oh, thank you. Thank you for being just a blast. Thank you for being a light. Thank you for being kind, Lamont. You know, it's just you're just people like you make the world better. You know, just I can just talking to you over this live, I can tell you are just a generally a good person, you know. And I know sometimes we might not always feel like we are like at some point in our lives, but we realize we do the self work, you know, and we get there. So I just want to thank you and just let you know your light shines bright. Keep shining your light, and, you know, and you're just gonna go so far.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Yes, yes, Lamont. Look, well, I'll be following you on Instagram, and you know, so we'll be, you know, I'll still be seeing you. So,
Same, same.
and my sister, she says, "Nice to meet you, Lamont," and she said, "Yes," she said,
Nice to meet
"Definitely."
you too, sis. I can't wait to see you physically.
Yes. All right. Well, Lamont, enjoy the rest of your day, your afternoon, and your evening. And I'll be, in, you know, we'll be keeping in contact online, you know, and with our messages on Instagram and stuff. So,
Thank you. You as well.
all right now. All right. Talk with you later.
Bye.
All right. Bye bye. Bye, Keita.